Hello guys, welcome back to another video in the React.js series. In this video, we are going to discuss about a hook method which is useMemo. Now, if this is the first time you are landing on this video series, this is the video series. We are focusing only on the beginners who doesn't have any experience with React. Having some JavaScript experiences would be highly recommended for this video course. If suppose you like the video course, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you will be getting notification for all the videos that we are uploading. I hope this is clear for the introduction. In this video, we are going to discuss about useMemo hook method. Let's try to understand what these hook methods are. Hook methods are nothing but a inbuilt method that comes along with React.js so that you know how they come up with some purposes. Example, we already discussed about useState. That useState hook method helps me to handle or maintain the state for the application. Hook methods are nothing but a method that comes along with React so that you can achieve something more with the inbuilt React. We already discussed about useState hook method. That hook method helps you to catch the state of the component. Likewise, useMemo is another hook method that helps you to memorize the value or the calculation or whatever the functionality that you are doing within the useMemo hook method, and that is what we call it as useMemo, and that's the exact purpose. So here is the application that I already created and it is running. So now we are going to take a scenario and try to write a code that explains you how useMemo hook method works. So first and foremost, what I would like to do is let me remove this and let me create some dummy data. So dummy data within a state. So just to make sure we have catch up on the state. So let's have one variable called constant data. This variable will be containing some object, so collection of object. This object could contain only easiest data, let's say example ID1, and name would be like we can take any name. Let's take a student name or a fruits name or vehicle name, something like that. In my case, I'm just taking vehicle name. So let's start with Magendra and then a price, not specific to any model. I'm just taking some random price. So random price is some 10,000 or 1 lakh, something like that. Let me copy this so that I can duplicate and prepare another object for us. So this is done. So let me change the ID and the name. Here I put Maruti and here I put Hyundai. Okay, now I have three different products. So one is Mahindra, Hyundai and Maruti. So what am I going to do is I'm having this collection of data. Now I wanted to apply some kind of sorting or searching within this data. So we all know that a searching operation or a sorting operation need the reshuffling of the data, so which needs some kind of a computation power. And this is one of the exact scenario where we can implement useMemo. So as I already said, useMemo is nothing but an inbuilt hook method that helps you to memorize the calculation or whatever the functionality you did unless the dependency gets changes. So that's what the memo is. Now I'm ready with the data. So before modifying anything within this component, let me try to create one useMemo variable. So constant sort products. So that's the variable. Products equal to useMemo. This useMemo is the inbuilt method, the hook method, and this is the one that I'm going to use. So this hook method accepts two different parameters. One is nothing but your function that actually holds the logic of your computation. So whatever it may be. In my case, the sorting functionality or searching functionality. And then I'm going to pass one more dependency, one more parameter, which is nothing but list or array. Okay, this is going to be the dependencies. So what this dependency is all about, what is the purpose of having this function? This callback function actually holds the actual logic of doing the computation. In my case, I'm just going to sort the data. Okay, so I'm going to write the sorting functionality within this callback function. So sorting implementation, I'm just adding a command, sorting implementation, and next thing is nothing but your dependency list. You can add n number of dependencies. So why we need this dependency? Because whenever there is a change in the dependencies, in that case only this callback function get executed. Till then it will not execute after the first computation. Okay, let me repeat it again. useMemo method helps you to memorize the computation that has already completed. Unless there is no change in the dependencies, it will not re-execute this function. Okay, so till then it just give you the same result again and again. That is what we call it as useMemo functionality. Right, so that's what the dependency purposes and everything. Now what am I going to do is, here is the actual data, right? I'm just assuming that this data could change in the future. So in that case, let me copy the data as it is and add that up in the dependency list. So now if there is any change in this dependency, in that case only this callback function get executed. Otherwise it will not execute, it will just keep on giving you the same memorizer data. Why we use this kind of functionality? Because this kind of a scenario helps you to achieve a better performance whenever you are having a lot of list data. Here I'm having just 3 data. Whatever the functionality that I do with this data, that doesn't going to affect anything, nothing at all. But in the real world, the scenario would be different. You will be getting a lot of data. So 1000 data, 2000 data, might be wanted to load more than that as well. In that cases, your performance will be affecting the front end user experience. So how shall I improve that? And that is where this useMemo comes into the picture. And that's how we save the user's performance. Okay, so it will always gives you the memoized data unless the change happens to the dependency list. In this case, I just passed data as a dependency. Okay, so now we have added the dependency. Let's try to have some logic that actually sorts the data. So before adding logic, we just have to have some UI related things, right? How to have the sorting things. So let's have the component code in return. What am I going to return is, let's have a division tag. Within this division tag, let's have a select. So what this select going to do is, here I'll be having 2 different options. So 2 different options. So one option, and whatever the option that we are having, right, that's related to how you wanted to sort the data. So first one is by name. Second one is by price or ID, something like that. Okay, this is how it is. But how will you track the change and all? For that we have a change event. On change event, so we will be having the change as it is. We will be modifying that code, and then the current selected value. Okay, current sort by value. So I'll be having sort by. That's it. I'm having some errors here stating for that event and all. I will be correcting that up maybe in a short time. So before to that, let me try to create one state. Okay, here constant. So here I'm creating the state. So let's have use state, and the default value for the state is nothing but name. Okay, I will be having a small name. And what it going to return is going to return a 2 different data. One is nothing but sort by, we know that the value, and then set sort by. That's it, that's a function. Now I will be modifying this sort by, and based on that the data supposed to get rearranged or resorted, and then it's supposed to print it on the output screen. So where you wanted to store the data, and that's where we will be having a function. So let's have that one by one. So I have a sorted product. We will be populating them one by one. Let's copy the sorted product, and After this division, let's have some ul element or li element, however the way that you wanted you can create, and let's have a extend expansion. Now this throws error, so let's add a fragment that will eventually avoid the error. If you are not comfortable with the fragment, please go to the previous videos and try to see what the fragments are. We have already covered that up in the previous video. Now I'm just looping through this collection. Now we wanted to understand what does this sort products work. See, sort product is nothing but a function, okay, but that's the variable as of now. That variable contains whatever the data that returns by useMemo. That is what this is all about, okay. So if it returns any data, I'm working on that data. Of course, sort useMemo function will return me data, and that data only I'm about to populate in the screen. So that is why I'm just going to loop through this sort product, okay. To loop through all the content, I'll be having a map function so that I'll have access to all the function. This X actually holds the product, actual product. And then I'm having a li element, and this li element will populate the product name and those details because I'm having those data, right? So here is the data. I'm having ID, name and price. So let's have a name and price that get populated here. And here I'm having X and then I'll be having the property. So first property is name, and this going to have this much price. That's it. And then this is looping. Since we are looping through that, we're supposed to provide some unique value here. I can have x.id. So every data in this li element is actually unique. Now it has some problem. We will be fixing that problem and then we'll iterate the code again. This is done so far. Now what am I going to do is, this is for populating the data, and this is for to handle the sort by the filter options. And I'm having one event here, that's nothing but on change event. What's supposed to do when there is some change? So let's accept a function. This function actually update set sort by, okay. Here I'll be having e.target.value. That's it, nothing apart from that. This itself will take care of all the kind of work, okay. This is how it works. Now this HTML, the component related UI related code is completed. We'll be getting into the actual logic of sorting implementation. So here what I do is, I'm having a I'm having a data, right? Let's create a copy of the original data. Why we need the original data copy? Because we are not going to do anything with the original data. I'm just taking the copy, and in that copy only I'm just performing the sort operation, and once this is copied, then I'll be just returning the data, okay. That's all, nothing apart from that. Let's create a variable called d, and I'm having a data in it. If you take this could be a shallow copy. I don't want shallow copy. Let's have a data. So this will eventually create the deep copy operation. Now if suppose sort by variable holds the data which name, in that case I wanted to sort based on the name. So I'm having a copied data on the variable d, then d dot sort, that's the inbuilt functionality, but this sort function accepts another callback function. Here we will be writing some code, and this a comma b, I'm just sorting, right? So we need a and b data, so I'm trying to sort it out. A dot whatever the data we are having, dot name is the actual parameter, and just I wanted to, you can compare and then replace, that's a local compare with b dot name. That's how the sorting is completed. Based on this logic, it will just sort the data. Or else, okay, or else if suppose sort by variable hold the data of price, because that's another one, right? So let's have a price. In that case also I'm going to do sort operation, but here also the callback function going to perform based on price value. So a comma b, I'll just bracket a comma b, and then here I'm having a dot price minus b dot price. So based on that, it will eventually sort the data. That's all about the sorting functionality. Once this implementation is completed, we are done with the sorting. But once the data is sorted, I wanted to return that outside of the function. So this is the data that will eventually return every time. Now we wanted to look at the dependency. Why? Because every time there is a change in the data, I will just execute this callback function. That execution will be maintained by useMemo. But what will happen if I change the sort by? Of course, I haven't added that up in the dependency list. In that case, it will not going to resort the collection. That will create me a problem. So instead, what I do is I'll just copy the sort by and then put it over here. Now we have added the dependency. Let's see if there is any error present here or not. You can see I'm having by ID, by name, whatever the data, whatever the sort operation I'm just selecting, I'm not getting anything working. So let me get into inspect to see if there is any error. I'm having some error here. Let's try to understand what error that I'm getting. You can see cannot read properties of undefined reading a map. So here I'm having a map. Okay, this map actually work with the sorted product, but it doesn't. It has thrown some problem. So how we can fix this? That's what our next thing is. So I was going through the code and try to figure out the problem. Now we have to focus only on this area where I have an option, but I haven't passed the data what the value for that option is. So I have done this, and then this needs to be done, and then here I need to add the return keyword. That's all, nothing apart from that. Apart from that, everything is fine. All those things are working as it is. If you can look at it here, I'm getting Mahindra, Hyundai and Maruti. And if I change this by ID, needs to be modified. Let's have by price, and we can see I'm having Hyundai, Mahindra and Maruti. So let me change by price. There won't be any change because that's a default data, because everywhere it is over 10 lakh. So let me change this data as well to 20 and 30 respectively. So maybe remove 1 0. So I'm having Maruti, Mahindra and then Hyundai, because as of now the data is populated based on the price. Let me change that by name, and you can see Hyundai, Maruti and then Maruti. Let me change by price, and you can see the sorting is actually happening, and that's how memoization work. So this is the purpose of memoization. So unless this changer modifies and or else the sort by modifies, it will not execute this memo. That's what the useMemo is. So let me reiterate whatever we did from the beginning of the video. So useMemo is nothing but hook method. That hook method provides you a way to increase the performance of your component. Why we need to use useMemo? Because this hook method memorize everything, and it will not re-execute the method that we provided. That's how it works. Let's take an example of sorting. Whatever the code that I have selected, that's nothing but callback function. This callback function get execute only once, and then it is memorized. Once the value for this function is memorized, it will not going to re-execute unless there is a change in the dependency list value. So here I'm having a data as well as sort by. Both this changes, if any one of the variables get changes, then obviously the callback function get executed. Okay, so that is how the useMemo will work. If any one of the dependency doesn't going to change, in that case your result will not get changed. It just provide you with the memorized data. So that is what useMemo is all about. We will be looking at in the next video. Till then, bye, take care.